In this short module, we will address the needs of an MPA, what the manager needs to know, what resources are available, and more on the national legal requirements for marine turtle monitoring. There are two fundamental lines of knowledge upon which correct management of marine turtles in MPAs is built upon. The first is knowledge about the turtles present in the MPA. Information on this topic was covered in Module 1. The second is knowledge about the threats present in the MPA, and information on this topic was covered in Module 2. Once these are comprehended, the MPA authorities can effectively and efficiently put in place monitoring and conservation measures to protect the turtles. For this module, we will use the example of the National Marine Park of Zakynthos to elaborate on the needs of an MPA. Here, outlined in red, is Laganas Bay, the southeastern part of Zakynthos Island, and the focal area of the National Marine Park of Zakynthos, or the NMPZ. It contains a sheltered, shallow, sandy-bottom marine area with the majority less than 20 meters deep. It hosts a nationally and regionally important nesting loggerhead turtle population, and 6 individual nesting beaches have been identified left to right. They are named Marathonisi, East Laganas, Kalamaki, Sakanya, Daphne, and Yericus, totaling around 5.5 kilometers of nesting habitat of varying quality. Several turtles are regarded as residents due to their frequent observations in the area. The destination is popular with tourists and has a large tourism infrastructure. To adequately manage turtles within the MPA, we need to know more about them and the implications for population management relating to the turtles' presence. There are 4 basic questions we need to ask. What species are present? Fundamentally, the answer is loggerhead turtles or green turtles or both. There are few implications relating specifically to species regarding management, but species need to be reported on individually for both IMAP and the MSFD, so the 2 species must be distinguished in monitoring results. Why are they here? The MPA could be a feeding or breeding area or be part of a migration route. Feeding grounds can also be development areas where juvenile turtles reside as they slowly grow to reach adulthood. Depending on the reason they are there are various implications on habitat management. Breeding turtles need safe nesting beaches, and feeding green turtles need healthy seagrass meadows and algal patches. When are they present? Are they here year-round or seasonally? If the turtles are present year-round, then management and monitoring plans need to be in place year-round too. But if the turtles are only seasonally present, then plans can be varied throughout the year. For example, if turtles are known to only be present in the area in the winter and fishing restrictions are imposed year-round, this may well cause negative reactions from local fishers who will feel they are being unjustly penalised. So there is a clear benefit to imposing only seasonal restrictions. What are the life stages present? The various stages are eggs and hatchlings, juveniles, subadults, and adults. Knowing life stages present is closely linked with knowing why turtles are present in the area, as different life stages require different safe habitats. Eggs need suitable beaches in which to incubate, neritic green turtles require suitable feeding habitats, etc. In terms of conservation value, turtles in the later stages are biologically more important than younger turtles, i.e. protecting an adult turtle is worth more to a population than protecting an oceanic stage juvenile turtle, and this knowledge will help prioritize management actions. Armed with the above knowledge, let's see how this applies to the NMPZ. What species are there? The NMPZ almost exclusively deals with loggerhead turtles, so reporting will only cover this species. Why are they there? Looking again at the life cycle of turtles in the context of the NMPZ, we can see that adult loggerhead turtles are seasonally in the area to mate and nest and reside during the breeding season, so nearshore waters and beaches need to remain safe places for turtles. When are they there? The breeding season, which encompasses the mating and nesting seasons, lasts from April to August, and hatching season runs from July to October, so protection needs to be concentrated in the summer period. Which life stages are present? We have nests containing clutches of eggs, which if they incubate safely will produce hatchlings, and hatchling turtles start the journey to the open sea from the beaches at the end of the breeding season. This will mean beaches need to be kept safe, nests and hatchlings safeguarded, and valuable adult stage turtles protected. The NMPZ is a shallow coastal site, and therefore it is not a habitat for oceanic juveniles or feeding or migratory area for large juveniles and adults. Having said that, Lagunas Bay does host a few year-round resident turtles, mostly juveniles, but in much lower numbers than during the summer influx of breeding adults. After assessing what turtles you have in your MPA, it is imperative to know which threats are most impacting turtles at sea in your area. As detailed in Module 2, the most common and important threat internationally is fishery interactions, and especially bycatch, but coastal development, pollution, predation and climate change may all negatively impact turtles. The implications of each threat are varied. Fisheries interactions are generally non-discriminatory and can affect all life stages, and it cannot be stated enough that this is the main threat to marine turtles globally, and hence should be managed to some degree in any MPA where turtles exist in numbers. Coastal management can have immediate impacts, preventing turtles from carrying out the critical act of nesting, or long-term effects destroying dune systems and disturbing nearshore currents that lead to erosion and beach loss. Different types of pollution can impact turtles in different ways, affecting health and survivorship. Plastic pollution, if eaten, can block turtles' digestive tracts or facilitate transfer of toxic chemicals into the turtles' bodies, and light pollution can cause the death or severe debilitation of hatchlings. Predator activity normally affects eggs and hatchlings, meaning nest or predator management is an essential tool in nesting areas. Less common is predatory activity on adult turtles. This has been reported in the Mediterranean, with both dogs attacking nesting turtles and monk seals attacking adult turtles in the internesting habitat. Dog attacks can be managed, but seal predation issues have yet to be controlled. Lastly, the implications of climate change will be most acutely felt at the nesting areas where beaches may disappear due to combined effects of sea level rise and erosion caused by increased storminess. Thus, closer monitoring and active management of nests may become vital to ensure that the next generation of marine turtles successfully hatch out on each summer. Knowing the threats means you can target your efforts to real issues and not theoretical ones. Within the NMPZ, there is the potential for small-scale artisanal fisheries to take place. And because of the highly developed tourist infrastructure and tourist presence, there is a potential for high rates of boat collisions and turtle harassment. Pollution in the form of light pollution and to a lesser degree plastic pollution or litter are potential issues. There are no foxes on Zakynthos, so the main threat of predation comes from birds eating hatchlings. And lastly, the NMPZ represents a range of beach conditions so that temperature increases should not cause an issue, but sea level rise and beach erosion is likely to be a problem. Now you have determined what turtles you have in your MPA and the threats present, next comes the most important step, the application of conservation measures to protect your turtles. Conservation measures that are specific to the turtle demographics and threats in your MPA, thus maximizing efficiency and minimizing resource wastage. If the situation within the MPA is good, you may only need to maintain a long-term monitoring program, but it is likely that you may need to instigate fisheries management to minimize bycatch, boating management to minimize collisions and turtle harassment. You may also need to require specific protection measures such as propeller guards on all boats in the area, light control to stop hatchling misorientation, and anti-predator responses. And last but not least, you may need to introduce an education and awareness program to bring locals and other stakeholders on side for the protection of sea turtles. To help with this process, MedPan recently published a management and monitoring guide for MPA managers, which should be your go-to resource for what to do to monitor and manage your turtles, and you will be hearing more about this guide in the next module of this training course. Before progressing to the regional legal monitoring requirements for marine turtle populations, I want to highlight one universal technique that applies to all areas where turtles are encountered, not just within MPAs, and that is strand monitoring. Strandings are observations of sick, injured or dead turtles, and these observations are commonly made when the turtle washes up on the coast, but they can also be made from vessels out at sea when dead turtles or those behaving abnormally are encountered. Strand monitoring helps a manager to acquire information on the populations of turtles present in the MPA through collection of biological data and also the threats present through accurate recording of the cause of stranding. Monitoring strandings also facilitates opportunities for sick or injured turtles to be sent to appropriate rehabilitation centres where possible, thus potentially improving the outcome for the individual turtle in addition to gaining more information on its condition and the circumstances of its stranding. Strand monitoring is a powerful tool to learn more about the status of turtles in your area, but there are considerations on accuracy of results and implications for management. It is important that the cause of death reported for dead animals is supported by evidence. Strandings generally do not occur in large numbers, so misreporting any deaths can have important statistical impact on the mortality rates caused by the attributed threats. Because of this, stranded animals should be rigorously examined by experts and veterinarians who can provide detailed reports on the results of their investigations and beyond reasonable doubt attribute causes of death. These examinations in suitably fresh specimens should incorporate internal necropsy observations, and all observations should be recorded following standardized protocols, so that data between areas can be properly compared. It is important that stranding data is shared with relevant stakeholders promptly, so that managers can take swift remedial action against any specific identified threats and share their concerns with managers in other linked areas. This prompt data sharing should also be established within a framework of an MOU or other agreement between the MPA management and field NGOs and research institutes. In this way, misunderstandings are minimized and all parties know what is expected of them. Lastly, we will cover each country's legal requirements of monitoring and reporting according to the two main assessment programs which were introduced in the previous module. The first is the Integrative Monitoring and Assessment Program of the Barcelona Convention. Every nation bordering the Mediterranean is a contracting party to the convention and hence must make efforts to comply with its requirements. The IMAP assessment is made by reporting on a number of common indicators or CIs. Those most relevant for marine turtles are CI3, which is the assessment of the distribution of each species and species group. This is a difficult indicator, especially for loggerhead turtles, as they are so numerous and widespread across the Mediterranean. It can be assumed that their distribution includes all marine locations. CI4 is determination of population abundance and includes components of breeding population size and relative or absolute abundance indexes at marine habitats. And CI5 is the determination of various vital rates for marine turtles, such as the number of clutches laid each season, hatching success, sex ratio of hatchlings produced, longevity and age at maturity, etc. Some of these parameters are relatively simple to determine, such as hatching success, but others require decades of monitoring, such as assessing longevity. The second program for assessing marine turtle status across the Mediterranean is the EU Marine Strategy Framework Directive. The MSFD only applies to EU nations, but its requirements closely align with those of the IMAP process in order to minimize duplication of effort and to produce corroborative results. The MSFD assessment is based on a number of descriptors, with each comprising a number of criteria. The most relevant to marine turtles are D1C2, relating to turtle abundance, D1C3, the demographic factors for turtle populations, and D1C4, marine turtle population distribution. As I indicated, the two assessment programs are closely aligned, and the common indicators of the Barcelona Convention map onto the descriptors and criteria of the MSFD. It should be noted that neither program has completely finalized or standardized its assessment procedures yet, so some of the evolution of the monitoring requirements can be expected in the coming years. MPAs can and should play a key sentinel role in contributing to the indicators required by the EU and IMAP integrated monitoring frameworks, as they are by nature areas where marine turtles are known to congregate. Thus, monitoring data required by the MPA not only facilitates better management within the MPA, but can contribute to the national and regional monitoring effort. The protocols proposed in the MedPan marine turtle training courses and the management guidelines document are all in line with the data requirements of the relevant EU and Barcelona Convention frameworks, ensuring that standardized, streamlined actions afford turtle populations the most efficient and effective management and conservation. That ends the instruction part of this module. An MPA management needs quiz has been created to verify you have learned the key facts presented in here. This is accessible from the course website. This is the end of this brief module on the needs of MPAs. There is a short multiple choice quiz for you to complete to determine how much information has been absorbed, and the MCQ is available from the course's website. Thank you.